Now, but I will tell you a few things today. The next time when we meet again, I kept calling it hardcore Dhamma. Actually, what I'm going to do is actually to take you through using the suttas, which is why I need time to find the suttas. I'm going to take you through the mind as explained in the sutta. Okay? There are two more segments. One segment deals with what is it you're supposed to be seeing. Right? I kept saying, you need to prepare the mind, you need to prepare the mind has to get to a certain state. Afterward, I explain to you that state. Then once you're able to gain an understanding, there are two things you need to do. One is to develop the conditions until you arrive at that particular state of mind. And two, recognizing that state. Sometimes you can actually arrive at the state blur one. What's going on? What's going on? You have this moment when you feel different. Then that moment passes because you got scared. Okay, I know some of you have gone through it. The moment arises for you, the moment where the state of mind is actually quiet enough to see Dhamma. But because it's so unusual for you, what happened is, you get to the state, you panic, you hop out of it, that's it, finish. State gone. You can have that. Or you can have a situation where you try so hard to get to that state. You try so hard, you never saw it. You have no idea what is that state of mind. So what I'm going to do is to explain to you what it is, and then you need to be able to recognize it when it arises. Okay? This is what we're going to complete for this part 1. Part 2 is when the state of mind arises. What is it you have to look out for? What is the nature of the mind that you have to understand? It is going beyond anicca, dukkha, anatta. It's going beyond that. Those are the things you have to see. But we're going beyond that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you, I've planned lecture 1 of part 2. Lecture 1 of part 2 is going to take you through the typical thinking process. A typical thinking process of a normal mind. And in the normal state of mind, what is it like? Buddha explained it. It's in the suttas. He explained it again and again. And when we read the sutta, it will come up, jump at you. This is how you see. Except that you didn't realize you see things like that. Because you're so caught up with the experience, you actually never notice the experience like this. Okay, so a thinking process. And in the process of the thinking process, what are the features of the mind, which also the Buddha has explained? The features. When he says anicca, right, impermanence, there are various types of experience of impermanence explained in the sutta. Different features of impermanence, which you also have to learn to recognize. And then dukkha, he kept saying, in order to realize nibbana, you really, really got to see dukkha properly. Understand the Four Noble Truths properly. There is a reason why he kept saying properly. We all experience pain, or so we think. We experience feelings. We may not actually understand the nature of dukkha. Example, what do I mean? Baby cry, right? Baby gets hungry, baby gets uncomfortable, baby cry. Does baby know why he's hungry? No. Does baby know what is pain? No. Baby only reacts to pain. In the same way, we may be adult, we also react to pain, but we actually never truly understand the nature of dukkha, the absolute real nature of dukkha. Those are explained in the suttas. So that would be an interesting phenomenon to experience. It's actually, lecture 2 is short. Part 1 is far longer because there's so many factors to discuss. But part 2 is short, way shorter. Probably can be covered in about 3 lectures. Yes, it is. What you think forever, this course. 3, maybe 4, okay? 2 months done. And then finally, the part 3 is Nibbana. This practice, at the end of the day, it is not about just seeing the nature of the mind. It is because the only way your mind knows how to switch off, the only way your mind knows how to let go by itself is when it truly understands and accepts that he is like that, it is like that. If the mind cannot understand and accept itself for what it is, it doesn't know how to switch off. You see, I'll give you an example. We all, you all have gone to nice, all of you have gone to nice, beautiful nature places, right? You go in, you have one moment when you stare at nature and your mind freezes. Yes? When you actually look at nature, the mind goes quiet for one moment. In that one moment when the mind goes quiet, or went quiet, right, how did you feel? Blissful. Exactly. Quiet, blissful. Right? Then you're not enlightened. You see what I'm saying? In that moment, your mind shut off what? It actually went quiet. And you feel this deep sense of joy. Surely you must have experienced that. Looking at nature and experience it, you feel that sense of joy. But then no, after that, split minute later, ayah, get all agitated all over again, right? So what it tells you from an episode like this is that it is all in the mind. If the mind knows what is going on, and the mind knows how to get back to it by itself, and then the mind knows how to let go by itself, sweet liao. Sweet, okay? So it's when you understand, when there is understanding, the next point is a decision. Now that you understand, is your mind able to then let go by itself? That one is tough. That one is jike ku jike. I can only show you from the suttas how the Buddha takes the individual to a certain point. Yes, this can happen. You understand more and more you understand, right? And it can reach a point where you spiral in and then you can't get out, right? It continues by itself. Because your understanding is deep enough for you to trim the craving significantly. Then you can't spiral upwards, you can't climb upwards. You can only go downwards. I mean, positively. Go deeper into your mind, go deeper into the peace, go deeper into the joy. Go deeper into the peace. It's in a positive way. Okay? So, the part 3, I have no idea how many lectures that would be. I really have no idea. I haven't even prepared the lectures for part 3 yet. I'm looking at minimally 2. So all in all, you're looking at possibly another 6 more classes. Not that many. Yes, you may. Because after that, after we finish this course, if you want to, we can always do suttas. We can pull suttas in. We're going to keep imposing on you.
Diploma course.
Practical series.
We can continue. We can go into the actual suttas, pull out. They are very good suttas. I've seen really, really good suttas. Someone sent it to me recently, a collection by another Bhante. Brilliant choices. Those are very good suttas to play with. Yeah, we can do that, but we have to finish this series first, lah. Okay. Now, one last thing before I break for question. That your turn to ask questions. I kept talking about the state of mind, right? This particular state of mind, some things are present, some things are not. Okay? Automatically, in that particular state of mind that can see Dhamma, the Nivaranas are not there, for sure. It's also in the suttas. The Nivaranas will not be there. Meaning to say, what does it mean? It means to say that temporarily suspended, there will not be a rising of any form of wanting. If you look into at the point, right, if you look into your mind, there isn't any wanting at that point, no arising of it. There is just a balance, distancing, indifference. There is no wanting, okay? There is no arising of wanting. There is no arising of ill will. Not even one tinge of it. So if you have even one tinge of annoyance, that's mental state very difficult to come up. Okay? It's very detached, very quiet, very objective, very light, very aware. Your awareness is very clear, very sharp. You literally you are aware of the arising of something. And it's effortless. It has to be effortless. And you are aware of being aware. There is awareness of awareness. There is and it's a general kind of awareness. So something arises, you know. Something passes away, you know. There is no attachment to anything, and there is no worry. There is no energy that is too fast. The restless, worry, what is this state energy? If your mind says, what is this state? Finish, that's it, finish, over. Start again, okay? There won't be the mind going, oh, what is this state? In fact, the mind will be saying, okay, I recognize this. I know there is awareness. I am aware. I know what it is. I'm now watching. That's all. That's all you have. There won't be a heavy energy, meaning to say, when you're in this mental state, you wouldn't be going, oh, very sian, very tired. I think I'll go and rest. No such thing. There's no arising of thoughts. There's only awareness. Okay? There is also, interestingly, full confidence. The word here, the word confidence, Vichikicha is perplexed. You all know that. I've said it many times. The word Vichikicha. The opposite of perplexed. You know. The opposite of perplexed, one knows. You recognize the state. You know the state. You know this is the state. You understand what I'm saying? So in that state of awareness, there isn't the, is this it? Is this it? Because if you have the, is this it? Is this it? It's not it. In fact, it is the, this is it. I know this is it. This is the mental state of awareness, which is empty, clear, effortless. I don't have to try very hard. I know this thing can be sustained by itself. It has its own little energy. It's a little propeller energy by itself, battery operated one. Okay? And it's just in the awareness. Of course, like any state, it rises, it falls away. So the question is, how did this arise? This arises when on a daily basis, you keep doing these things. On a daily basis, you wake up, you have you maintain a certain awareness when you can, a certain mindfulness. When you can, you remember to do that. Just be mindful. And when you're mindful, just reflect that, okay, this is a state, this is one moment, this is awareness. It will disappear, never mind. Every time you remember action, movement, breathing, feeling, mindfulness, okay? When you keep doing this, when you keep being aware, mindful, when you keep making sure you meditate on a regular basis, eventually this effort to be mindful will settle down. into no need so much effort. It will settle down a bit more quietly. But this constant reflection on the Dhamma must continue. Every time you are momentarily aware, right? You don't just be aware of, oh, I'm brushing my teeth. Don't do that. You're brushing your teeth, note the brushing, note the contact, note your mind noting contact, and then maybe you can note moments. Come and go, come and go. You know what I'm saying? You have learned some Dhamma. Remember what the Buddha said. So be mindful of things like that. It is to settle the mind into a state of relatively quiet on a daily basis. And then be watchful of when your mind gets distracted, gets upset. Always keep the mental space clean. Your mental space is not clean, very difficult to sit and meditate. Very difficult. If your mental space is clean, way easier, your meditation will feed this mindfulness process. They must feed each other. All the three of them feed each other. So what I'm trying to say here is that on a daily basis, when you do remember, be mindful of the following things: bodily posture, form, feelings that come and go, positive, negative, neutral, neither positive nor negative. Awareness of what's the state of mind that pops up and disappear. Awareness of things arising and falling away. When you remember, just be mindful of that. Just one moment is okay. One moment is okay. Don't have to do it the whole day, you'll go crazy. But just one moment when you remember, just do it. Okay? You keep doing this, right? Keep doing this, plus the meditation, plus reflection on the Dhamma, for sure you are generating the energy, the mental energy for this. And one day you will find that the mind will naturally settle in the relatively quiet state. It may not last. The first time you experience it may last for a grand total of 10 seconds. But the next time it will go up to a grand total of 20 seconds. It will start to expand. And then as this thing continues, over time, it becomes more and more a state of mind that arises in the hour by the hour. And this state is not Nibbana. This state is the mental state you need to be able to see Dhamma. Okay? So for a sneak preview of what you must see, right? Observe the following thing. Contact. Contact. Observe how all your sense organs come into contact with sense objects. Thinking process starts with contact. Okay? Observe contact. Observe how the mind clings to your contact points. Observe the mind letting go of the contact points. Observe feelings associated with contacts. Observe how these things come and go. The anicca part is very important. Anicca is very, very important. This is all the basic. Observe how things come, things will always go. Whatever arises must fall away. Observe that. Observe how your holding on to each is the basis for your stress. Notice that. And observe how you are not the driver of any of them. They all come and go on their own. Can you dictate how long they stay? No. Even if you are in pain, right? Even when you are really upset, you look at your temper. If you didn't come and kepo or create another sentence, another stanza, another whole page of complaint, right? If you didn't come up with that new thought construction, the anger would have faded. But we keep adding fuel, you see. We keep adding. And when you add, that's when it starts a new one. Observe that. And observe how this is all a pattern, a rhythm by itself. They're all rhythm by themselves. Okay? All these are sneak previews. These are the things you have to observe in your daily activities. And when you've observed all these things, as you see them come and go again and again and again, then the question is, when your mind look at these things, is your mind still holding on, or is your mind starting to do this? The mind that starts to do this by itself, right, is the mind that is developing. When the mind observe all these things, still go in and muck around with it, it's a mind that hasn't quite understood and hasn't quite developed. Then you ask, why should the mind learn to let go like that? This is development. You don't have to hurry yourself. You don't have to hurry chase after the boat. No need. You just know that when the mind grows, remember the hen and the eggs hatching, okay? When the mind grows at its own pace. You generate the correct condition, the mind will grow by itself. You create the wrong condition, the mind will langgar, and then go backward. Okay, reverse parking. So the creating the correct condition is necessary. It's very important. Okay, the mind see these things. Can the mind let go? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe if your wisdom is enough. Maybe not if the wisdom is not there. Mind doesn't know how to let go. Doesn't know how to. I will explain to you when we finish part 2, right? I'm going to part 3. I will then explain to you in your meditation, deep in your meditation, as you look at the nature of the mind, what is it that it would start to look like? And how do you navigate this mind? It's a very tricky process. It's an extremely tricky process. There are days when you're tired, right? When it's fuzzy, can't really think. When you try to think, right, when you put into first gear, I know these are old days, first gear, second gear, third gear, and nothing works because the mind just doesn't move when it's heavy. Do you know what I'm saying? The days when you are tired, then you try to think, I don't remember anything lah. Hey, what's the telephone number? I don't remember a thing lah. Why you cannot remember? Don't know the mind so heavy, how to remember? You know that? Okay. There are days when, what are the telephone numbers? I give you which one you want. Because it is so clear. The moment you want to access the file is there for you to access. It's easy to remember things. How do you tell when you look at it, right? It's not fuzzy. And it's easy to remember. There isn't a lot of effort to pull things out. If you find that when you try to remember things and you don't know where it is, you look in and there's nothing for you to retrieve, something is wrong lah. The mind is not clear. Okay? It's hard to explain the mind. It's the best that I can do under the circumstances. Does it make sense?
If the mind is in that state but not clear state, can you actually even try to meditate? You do it every day, and then some days you hit that spot, very sluggish.
Yeah, it will be very sluggish, but you try.
Do you still try?
Yes.
You still make an attempt, though it still runs.
Yes.
You still
Yes.
want to do it?
Yes.
Because for habit purposes?
Because it's also worth looking at a troublesome mind. If it's a mess, right? I have experiences like that also. There are days when you sit and the mind is so quiet. Sit, and the mind sits. And not just sit and see as much as you want. Suddenly you're a star student. Then there are days when sit, run, sit, run, sit, run. Then you must accept anatta. It's anatta. Watch it run. You will literally watch it run. Okay? The running mind is not a problem if it is not a regular marathoner, you see. If every day it runs, we got a problem. But once in a while it runs, it's okay. Once in a while, let it be. It is the day it wants to run. It's really anatta. It's really anatta, okay? So, my own sense is that your body has its own rhythm. Okay? Your body has its own rhythm. And if you were to play nice, you play nice with your own rhythm, your body will play nice with you. It's anatta, I mean it. You will it to behave. Hello, who you think you are? You can only make nice, be nice to it. You just tell it, okay, I will cham siong, okay? I just need you to pay attention and focus for 15 minutes. I know you don't want to sit. I know you're very tired. You just do me a favor, 15 minutes we sit, okay? Guai guai, ah? And then see whether it will listen to you, whether you keep to its own side of the bargain. And sometimes it will, you know. You can lie then, okay, 15 minutes, okay, great. And 15 minutes will bounce you out. 15 minutes, your mind will bounce you out. You're done for the day. Now go sleep. I don't even know you'll fall asleep while you sit. So you need to respect the rhythm of your own form, your own system. There is a rhythm going on, okay? If you never learn to listen to the rhythm, you're asking for trouble. The sitting becomes very difficult. Then you find a sweet spot, right? You find a sweet spot. This is the time when you sit, your mind is the sharpest. For heaven's sake, this is your time. 这是你的 hour. So you better go and sit. When the time comes, you just sweet go and sit. Okay? I have full respect for the ecosystem. And I have full respect I will say this honestly, I can only advise it, I can make bargain with it, but I don't control it. Even I don't control it. And if it's when you try to, that's a problem. That's why I kept saying I use the word surfing the mind. You learn to understand how it works, and then you know how to generate the condition and do the necessary to live with it. And you can do it very nicely. It can be done very nicely. It's part of this letting go idea. You know how to do it, letting go in a very gentle way. It is not too painful. It will get easier and easier, and it will be quite fun.
But this one is like a state when you are very expert in handling the mind, you recognize the mind. But for the start, somehow you need to jam. You need to force it. Like, I don't know, like,
Yes.
you have to, must cut means cut. That kind.
Cut-
I remember you saying something like that.
Cutting is one form. Cutting, when it gets too painful, is one form of dealing with the mind. But it is not just cutting. It's realizing that it can be cut. Okay? That you do it this way doesn't mean you understand the mechanics of this. That I can just jam like that, right? And then you tell everybody, the way to do it is to jam it. Well, you're not jamming it. Jam. Jam is like that. For you, it works. But it may only work for this round, next round, and the third round. Then one day it doesn't work. And you go, how come my jamming method today doesn't work leh? But I jam, it still come out. I jam and it still come out. That is because you know how to use a knife, but you may not understand the principle behind this movement. You have to understand the principle of the movement, and then you can repeat it. It is like we kept saying, craving is the basis for dukkha. Letting go is the reason for relief, right? We kept saying that. Suppose that, say, you have never heard of the Dhamma. But one day you blur, you never heard of Dhamma, there's no Dhamma, okay? And one day you blur, right? You did something like that, and it worked. It actually works. If one day you have some craving, then sudah, don't care. Then you actually feel better. But you actually may or may not understand that principle, that equation, okay? So when you don't understand the equation, you don't know what happened. You thought that you told your kima. One day you suddenly can let go. Without understanding this letting go process is a complex thing that requires practice again and again. And there's an equation here. You never understood. So you thought that you had realized, I feel good. Until the next time you couldn't let go. And that is so painful. It is so painful. You understand that? And the reason why it is so painful is because you didn't realize that there was an equation. You got it by chance. It worked for you by chance. You stumbled onto something by chance. But you never studied that equation. You didn't realize that the equation was what enabled you to have peace. So the next time round, when you have craving, you didn't realize that it's the letting go that enabled you to feel relief. You just waited for the craving to go away, but it didn't go away. You didn't realize it has to be like that, you see? So you just waited. But the more you want it to go away, the more there is wanting it, right? So more and more dukkha. The only way you can right a mind, serve a mind, is if you understand the nature of it and how it works. So in this jamming thing, right, where do you jam? What happens when you jam? Why is it jamming sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work? So you understand, you start to ask yourself the principle of the nature of the mind. You understand? And there are all kinds, by the way, there are all kinds of method. You can have jamming, you can have replacement thought. So if something bothers you, right? You quickly pull another thought and paste it there. Replacement thought. So for some people it works. Okay? So sometimes you jam, sometimes you replace, sometimes you talk yourself out of it. Something happens, this person very bad, you get angry. No. What about the time he's good? What about the time when he did this for you? What about the time he did that for you? This is called replacement thought. Okay? So there are different ways of it. Or it may be a case where you tell yourself, thinking bad is bad karma. Bad karma, so let go. This is bad karma. It's all replacement thought, ma. But all these are just thoughts. These are actually going to be explored in round 2, okay? It's just thoughts. These are all perception. These are all thoughts. The real trick in tasting the peace is truly in understanding arising, in understanding the energy that gives rise to thought. If you understand that energy that gives rise to the thought, if you can just let that energy go, right? That arising, if you can let that go, then it drops. So that is the nature of the mind. It goes down to knowing which part of the mind to understand.
But the energy that arises, the thought construction to think things drop. You mean that energy, that instinct to want.
Every thought, every experience, every thought, every experience has energy.
So you let it go at the start. Sorry. 2 questions.
Sorry?
So you let it go at the start.
But it's
don't construct more.
it is recognizing the energy that leads to an arising. You've got to recognize that one. If you can see the arising again and again, you keep seeing it again and again and again, it will reach a point where the mind looking at the arising lose interest in the arising. It's just another
So
arising.
just look at the front part and jam it at the start.
No jamming,
No.
watching it
Okay.
right there.
So, but if for people who want to practice and then they look at the craving, then they just drive with the craving, then realize that then there's dukkha.
The reason why
You don't encourage them to watch all the way until they feel the dukkha of the
I'm talking to some fellas at the back. You see, okay, let me explain the difference period. When you are new in the game, you watch arising and falling away. Why? Because in watching the arising and falling away is when you start to realize that every formation has a cessation. Every experience comes and goes. You see impermanence. That's the reason why. Then once you start to see impermanence, you start to see craving. You want to see craving. Why do you want to see craving? Because you want to see how craving is linked to dukkha. And you understand the nature of that too. And if you can see that the time when you let go of that craving, you feel better. You see all three connected. You see these things is to understand the basic. Arising and falling away, it's very important. It's wrong to call it basic, but it is not the end point. This is part of the learning process, part of the understanding process. But as you start to watch the mind more and more and more, and you begin to understand the energy that drives the thought process, the energy underpinning the sensations, when you start to see those energy, this is when you begin to look at each experience at a very microscopic level, down to just observe arising. Because in every arising, in the arising itself is the cessation.